Hi, my name's Andy Rourke. I'm the designer of Coalitions. In previous videos, I've talked about how I designed the game and the stages that I went through. But now I want to talk about how I prepared the game to make it ready for pitching to a publisher. And then once I'd signed it to a publisher, how they went about developing the game. So now I had a finished prototype, I needed to make copies of the prototype so I could hand them out to potential publishers. And I needed these copies to be as high quality as I could make them. So I watched lots of videos on YouTube on how to make prototype copies. One channel, particularly Dining Table Print and Play, makes some fantastic videos showing you how to make boards, how to make boxes, and I use this to produce my first prototype. I then copied that and made 6 more. So I had potentially 6 sets to hand out to publishers. It was then a case of researching what publishing companies might be interested in publishing this type of game. Obviously, I needed a company that would be interested in war game or strategy game type games. And so my selection of publishers was limited. It was 2019 when I was looking, so this is before COVID, and there were shows still on, so I wanted to attend UK Expo to actually try and see as many of these people as I could face to face to introduce myself. I identified a long list of potential publishers to approach. It was GMT and Compass and Danvers Games and Worthingtons and Victory Point and Phalanx and Nuts and PSC, loads, but obviously not all of those were going to be at UK Expo. And I thought it was quite important, really, to have that personal touch to start with, to actually meet someone and make a connection. So in the spring of 2019, I went to UK Expo and I saw on the Phalanx stand, I met Michael, who was there. He gave me his card. Also PSC, I met up with someone from PSC, Will, who was also interested and gave me his card. And on the nut stand, I managed to speak to Scott, who also gave me the contact details. So from this, I then came away and followed up with emails introducing the game and telling them a little bit what it was about and asking if I could send a short video. Phalanx and PSC came back with interest, so I sent them a short sort of 1-2 minute video just explaining what the game was about, and so they could have some idea of what they was going to be looking at if they were interested. So for this video, I'm going to include the video that I sent to Phalanx as my intro, so here it is now. Hi, my name's Andy Rourke and I want to talk to you about an exciting new game called Coalition. It's based on the coalitions that formed against revolutionary and Napoleonic France. It's a 2 to 6 player map-based strategy game. The players play nations, and the unique part of the game is the way that diplomacy is handled between the nations in a way that I've never seen before in any other board game, especially not a Napoleonic war game. There's no dice. Combats are handled with pledging determination and blind bidding with cards. Hopefully this is the sort of game that may be of interest to you. If it is, I'd love to come and demonstrate it. Just let me know and I'll bring it along. After seeing the video, both Phalanx and PSC said they were interested to see more of the game and wanted to have a meeting to demonstrate it. Yarrow at Phalanx invited me to his home where we played through the game and talked about mechanics and got some feedback. About 20 minutes into playing, Yarrow just said, "I think you found your publisher," which was a wonderful moment, as this is my first game that was signed. And he was quite keen that I didn't show it to PSC and that I agreed with him that I would sign there. So we then needed, obviously, the paperwork to be drawn up. There was a license agreement to be drawn up and approved, which took a while. I've learnt everything takes a while with board game development. And so it was towards October by the time that the contracts and everything were ready and everything had been agreed. So Phalanx were at Essen in Germany, so I thought I'd go to Essen to see them there, and I signed all the contracts in October 2019 with Phalanx at their Essen stand, which was great. Then Coalition went into development with Phalanx. Initially this involved quite a bit of waiting, but things eventually started to happen. The art was the first things to change. Phalanx's artist Bartek Jeździecki, if I've said that right, has done a great job on changing the board, improving the cards and the box layout. This is the original prototype of the board that I sent to Phalanx, and Bartek has made some changes. These are some of the first changes he made. Since then it's gone on for quite a few revisions, and you'll be able to see the latest one on the Kickstarter page. Then the box. This is the box cover that I made for the prototype that I given to Phalanx. Initially they thought about changing it to a kind of a black hat of Napoleon's, and then settled on the cover that they've got now. So you can see the process of development through this. It was also decided to change the army markers on the board. Instead of using pawns, to use minis, and they came up with the idea of using famous statues of various figures from around Europe and basing the minis on the statues, which I thought was a fantastic idea. Then through playtesting and development with Phalanx, it was decided to change certain aspects. Some of the names of things were decided to change. So what I had originally called political determination, which was the scale on the side of the board, decided to call morale. And the tokens that I was placing under the armies, which I was calling logistical support for the army, we decided to make them as unit tokens, so they were actually armies with troops for the army. So that's two of the main name changes. And then the biggest change probably was streamlining the combat system. Previously we had a system where you would pledge the size of your army, along with any supports, along with the amount of political determination, or what we're now calling morale, and you do that using cards with numbers on that would show how much political support you was going to pledge. And then you'd have a combat card, which would also give you a kind of a certain random factor, because your opponent wouldn't know what your combat cards were, that you could add in, which would give you a little bit more plus or take a little bit of minus from them. So to streamline that, Volmar from Phalanx came up with the idea of adding in the combat cards and the pledging cards, the numbers on the pledge cards and the combat cards, into one card system, which worked really well, made combats easier, and involved a combat will be the size of the army plus the amount of morale that you want to pledge using the secret bluffing, using the cards that you've got in your hand, where your opponent doesn't know the value of those cards. So it worked really well, and it streamlined it, and it certainly is a big improvement. So this process has taken us through to May 2021, when I'm recording this video, and we're just about to launch the game on Kickstarter on the 24th of May. So if you've enjoyed this video, if you're interested in game design, please subscribe to my channel and like my Facebook page. Thank you for watching.